Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Waking to the New Dawn. These are our Saturday morning chats, and they may happen on another day, but today it's Saturday, so this is where we are. And welcome, Kristin. It's so great to see you. It's been a few weeks since we've had an opportunity to visit.
Yeah, good morning. I always look forward to this time. They're much more spontaneous than they used to be. Much less, I guess, planned, and they've been working really well that way.
Yes, I agree with that. And we are able to not anticipate, and it's not over planned. So let's just say it's improv, spontaneous, and often matched to the energies. And if anyone goes through the recordings, you can notice that Kristin and I have a tendency to wear the same colors on the day that we get together. This is not a plan. This is not a uniform for waking to the new dawn. This is just what happens. So we always smile when we see each other come on camera.
Yeah, I think it's a really great testament to those new earth energies of being in the now. You know, the new is the now. And yeah, just allowing the energies being present in the moment and allowing for what needs to come forward, and like just the synchronicities of it. So I think it's a really good testament to that now energy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So let's take a moment and develop community with everyone that's here and all of you that are noticing this, planning to spend time with us on the recording. So we'll bring our palms together. Just take a moment to relax, take a few deep breaths. Tune in to the energies of the day. And I invite you to notice any distractions you may be having, maybe physical ones. You could adjust your posture a little to get comfortable. Maybe you have an overabundance of thoughts and emotions today. Let's just breathe into that and let them soften. And we'll take a deep breath and find our way to our community. And we're back. So today, actually yesterday or the day before maybe, Kristin and I just popped into a topic, and it's very big. It has a huge umbrella. And the topic is our soul's purpose. So each of us have our own language around that, but know that we're speaking about our soul, our internal self, that divine energy that we are given at the time of our birth. And it's how we travel through this lifetime. And for me, it has to do with the dharmic path. So finding the dharmic path is not always an easy endeavor. We come to Earth with no memory, or maybe flashes of memory. And sometimes we have a little more than some others in terms of understanding what our past lives have been. And out of all that information and a trial and error, going with what we learn, maybe taking some of that and doing something new with it, maybe rebelling against everything we learn and finding a new way, which is really what Waking to the New Dawn is about. We're all in the process of finding a new way. And the new way is our dharmic path. It's the path that we have chosen for this lifetime. So what do you think about that, Kristin?
Well, I heard someone say something just this past week, a gal that I follow and tune into just from time to time. And what she said really resonated with me because I've been thinking about it a lot the last few years, and feeling that very thing of what she said here real recently. And it has to do with trying to think of how to bring this forward without getting like overly complicated. But I'm just going to say it this way. We've been gathering here now for like almost 4 years, about awakening, to waking to the new dawn, talking about all the new earth energies that are coming in. And what that really is, what that awakening process really is remembering, awakening and remembering who we are as soul. That we are soul, that we do have a higher self, that we are one, with the universe and all things, that we are sovereign. And remembering through that, like you just said, that we have a dharmic path, we have a soul purpose, that we are, the universe in form. But this gal, pretty much was saying about how we came here to be human, though. We are human. And I think sometimes for those of us who are on a pretty strong kind of spiritual path and a seeking path of that remembrance and that reconnection, with our soul, sometimes we can almost try to escape the human experience and kind of be in that disconnected version of, and we hear so much about, that Earth is like, the armpit of the universe, and who wants to live on Earth? It's like, the worst place to be, because it's so difficult. But I've also heard another teacher talk about that Earth is like the most almost special place to be in the universe because it's so transmutive. It just holds so much power to transform and to learn. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is we make this journey to remember who we are as soul. And that can be a very deep journey, and it can go in all kinds of different directions. But I feel like, at least for me, once we kind of harness that remembrance, it's actually all about bringing it back into the body, into the human experience. Like it's embodying it and living it, not trying to disconnect it and escape it.
Yes, yes. And I wanted to expand a little bit on the concept of Dharma based on many different definitions, and it depends on which philosophy you choose to look at, but they all kind of come to an intersectionality where Dharma is about our divine purpose, our duty in this lifetime. And duty sounds a little harsh. We like to think that this was our choice. And yes, we have plenty of free will. That's why sometimes we travel the path and sometimes we get distracted from the path. And if we're fortunate, we're able to find our path early in our life and travel it through the entire lifetime. We all have different ways of approaching our Dharma, but it's like the cosmic unity. It's our divine connection. And this divine connection is our inner truth, our Atman, our soul. It's what connects us to the reality of our life. And yes, we can avoid it. We can go through life blind, and we know that that happens. And if you do have a sense of reincarnation and know that there may be multiple lives that your soul experiences, like Kristin said, Earth is here for an opportunity to learn and grow. And each time we choose a path that is aligned with our Dharma, our cosmic duty, or our cosmic effort on Earth, we're expanding. We're growing the soul. We're growing that divine connection. And we have things that we need to accomplish while we're here. And that's part of the journey, is to figure out, what are those?
Well, and there's a foundation, like a theme, I'll call it a theme to our overall kind of dharmic path. But it's not like it's, like you said, it's not like it's one stationary kind of defined thing. When we first started talking and doing these recordings, Waking to the New Dawn, and talking about the new earth energies and this awakening process that we are all part of, the main theme of that is learning how to live from the inside out, learning how to make that connection with your inner self, your inner guidance, your soul, learning how to live from that sacred compass, and choosing what feels right for you as it feels right for you, kind of in the moment. So I feel like with the soul purpose and with the dharmic path, again, some of us can get a little off our path by trying to figure it, all out kind of at one time. And the magic is, and this is what I feel like this gal was talking about, and what I really resonated is, once you have kind of the remembrance of your divine nature, that you are soul, that you are sovereign, that you are multidimensional, that you are the universe and connected to all things, and all of those kind of spiritual concepts that we talk about.
Right.
Once you have that remembrance, and then you've learned how to listen to that inner guidance, how to follow that inner guidance, how to heed to your own inner authority, then you just naturally fall into your dharmic path moment by moment, letting it unfold in the now, unfold in the now. What is right for me in this moment, in this now?
Mhm.
And just letting, your soul, your inner self kind of guide you to the next step and the next step and the next unfolding. And then you're naturally following that dharmic path, shutting out the outer voices, listening to that inner voice, and just letting that theme and that purpose unfold.
And that brings us to another aspect of the definition of Dharma. The first one is the duty, finding yourself, knowing what you're here for, and traveling that path, making it happen. And the other one is to create, because a group of individuals, the humans on the planet, are ideally all traveling their own unique dharmic path. And we know that they are. The distractions are part of the dharmic path. They're part of the challenge that we bring. So that creates that expanded definition, which includes a social order. So the humans operating as we do in this lifetime, in this moment, on our dharmic path, whether we are distracted or what we think is on it, both of those, it's not an either or, it's a both and. So if you can think about the distractions being part of that path, that's part of the journey, is to have those things occur and then resolve them in a way that makes sense for you in that present moment. So we have the duty to find the self, and then we also have, as a collective, all living our paths, weaving those energies together in a way that we create a social order among the humans.
A social order, and that is the very definition, at least for me, of oneness, is living your truth. And again, we're talking about kind of our soul truth, right? Not necessarily our kind of ego truths of, well, I think this is right and you're wrong, not, but showing up and living our truth in the moment and allowing everyone else to do the same. And if we're really truly focused on that energy of living what is right for us, having that integrity of living what is right for us, and taking the actions and the choices that are in line with that, if we spend our energy just focused on our own truth and our own path, it takes us out of, it's like minding your own business. Like, we have so much going on right now in this collective turmoil of awakening, because we have come into this life disconnected to some level from our divinity, from our soul path, from our dharma. We have so much healing. We so much undoing to do. So much of our own healing to do. So much of that realigning to do for our own selves. That if we're really just focused on that, and stop and just allowing and accepting others to do the same, and where they're at and what their level of awareness is and what their dharmic path is, or who they showed up to be in this lifetime is not for us to necessarily be concerned about it.
It's all part of it. Yeah.
It's all part of it. How we react to it, how we maintain our own truth. I think that's the biggest challenge in this day, is maintaining our own truth, especially when it starts going against the norm and the grain of, all that conflict of fitting in and not fitting. I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot going on.
Yes. And stepping back and being able to, and this is like easier said than done, stepping back and going to the perspective that whatever anyone else has as far as a path is their path.
That's
And
right.
like you said, minding our own business, we talked a little bit about that last time. But that also brings us to one more expanded part of the definition of Dharma, and that is the teachings. These teachings, what we've learned over time as a collective, those are available to us. And yes, we can absorb them, we can refute them. All of that will come based on where we are in this lifetime. So we have our duty, we have the weaving of the social order, knowing that each of us have our defined path, and it's really not for us to look left or right to see what others are doing, even though those will influence us. That's part of the plan, is to be able to interact with those influences and learn the lessons that we're here to learn.
That's right. Yeah. And I had a thought and it's gone, but I'm sure it'll come back to me. But, again, just I'll speak for myself, and I'm sure, there's others that can relate. I've spent a lot of time over the years, especially the last several years, wanting to know, like, seeking out, what is my soul origin? Where did my soul originate from, and what are those energies, and what are some of the other maybe lives or experiences, that my soul has had. And I've spent a lot of time kind of seeking out like all of those pieces, but it's come to me as I've been on this journey. And again, this week, kind of being reminded of that. And something that I've spoken about over the past couple of years is, if we're simply listening from the inside out, if we just symbolize this whole process and bring it back to the ability to listen from the inside out, then we will bring forward, when we need it throughout our journey, the wisdom and the knowledge and all these other parts of our soul that it has experienced in all these different realms through all these different, life journeys. Like, we'll know what we need to know when we need to know it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, looking at the time, I think we have filled it And just thinking about a few things that we talked about today is that Kristen really helped us define going inward and getting to know the self, the Atman. And that's really the first step. And then the next step can be kind of tough. Trusting the self, trusting that the self is going to lead us. And this is where the mind gets a little, well, the mind has that ego, right? It wants to be in charge. So trusting the self is really a very large step. And sometimes we feel like we're jumping off an abyss because that's when we're in the present moment. We don't know what the future is going to bring. We're going with the flow. And we have to trust that it's going to unfold for us in a way that our dharmic path has been created. And then once that trust starts to eke in and we feel a little sense of it, and we're relying on the self for the responses of all the events and occurrences in our life, and then we can move into a way of really looking at things objectively with a sense of leaning into it, experiencing it, but at the same time, not allowing the barriers that come up for us to cause us to deviate from that open trust and ability to move forward guided by the Atman or the soul.
Yeah. You know, the studying of the soul, the science of the soul, I don't even know how to define my path, but understanding the soul and living from the soul is my greatest passion, and it has been my greatest passion for a number of years now. But what I'm finding is the more soulful I become, the more human I become.
Oh, that's lovely.
You know, it's really about embodying it and living it. And I have felt a shift here of recent, that the more soulful I become, actually, the more human I become. It's both and, it's not one or the other.
Right, right. Yeah. And being able to capture that both and remedy that in a way that we feel comfortable with it. So I'd like to just extend a great thank you to all of you who showed up for us today to share with us and offer your energy to help support what we're doing. Thank you very much. And namaste.
Namaste. Everyone be well. We'll see you again.